My name is Elayna Law, and I am 12 years old. I grew up in a Christian home, so I always knew God. But ever since I was younger, I have always struggled with doubt. I had a really hard time believing that God was real, which sometimes made me feel like I was different from my family because they've always had a very strong faith. I tried really hard to maintain a relationship with God and tried to put more faith in Him. But last year, I fell down a really bad path, and I started hanging out with the wrong people. I didn't notice it at the time, but while I was hanging out with them, I was slowly drifting away from God. There was a point that I had decided I didn't want to follow God. At that time, I just wanted to do what I wanted. But this summer, my mom worked at the camp I've always gone to. I stayed there all summer, and at first, the thought of staying there sounded terrible. As the summer went on, I started to realize that God is the best thing that could ever happen to someone. So since the summer ended, I have really grown in my relationship with God. Anyone can call themselves a Christian, but it's those who truly devote their lives to God that are true followers of Him, and I want to completely give my life to God. There are so many people that have helped me through my struggles, specifically my family. My parents and my brothers have always been there for me no matter what I was going through. Looking back, God has always been there too. One example I can remember was a couple years ago. I was on a road trip with my family, and I briefly saw an image of strong waves. It reminded me of the story when Jesus walked on water, but at that time I didn't know what it meant. That summer, I was at camp and I was talking to God. I couldn't understand why so many bad things happened. That was when that story came back to me, and I remembered the line Jesus said to Simon Peter, "You have so little faith. Why did you doubt me?" It was like God was telling me to have faith. That story has continued to remind me that God has a bigger plan than we can imagine, even if we don't understand it. I decided to get baptized because I feel like God is calling me to get baptized, and I have finally realized what being a Christian really means.